Welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime, and I'm going to be attempting something completely different this time, which is to basically do an analysis of a story. This is a short story from EC Comics. The story is by William Gaines and Al Feldstein. They were the writers or came up with the ideas. Joe Orlando was the artist. This came from Weird Science number 11 from February 1952, and it's called Why Papa Left Home. And the reason I'm doing this one, again, I will do these probably very sporadically, is because I found this a very interesting, thought provoking story. I'm not going to read much of it, but I will go through quickly the story. Basically, this fellow here, he's working with a scientist named Dr. Vanderveer Heibolt, and he has created a temporal procession, which is basically a time machine. And so he is the assistant. He's 23 years old. And so we get a little bit of a backstory on it that his father left him, or his father disappeared when he was an infant. And this has kind of haunted his mother ever since. So his mother says to him, he goes back home, his mother says, "For 20 years, 23 years, I've worked for you, slaved for you, put you through school. Now what do I get? One of these days you'll up and walk out just like he did." So he has to go to work. And then I guess he was gone for a couple days. And so she gets very concerned because she already experienced loss once. And so she might be a little bit overboard. But yeah, it is established that she is the one who worked to get him through college. He thinks, poor mother, she'll never forgive father for deserting us. She'll hate him till the day he dies. So what will be interesting is to see if people can figure out where the story is going before it gets there. So the scientist explains that he plans on sending this assistant Raymond back 25 years. So that's an important plot point. And we get kind of a description of how he's going to do it. "You will remain there for 1 hour. I've set that on the duration of stay lever here. After the hour is up, you will return to the present. The machine will not follow you, but merely thrust you into the past. Conversely, when the hour is up, it will pull you back to the present. Are you ready?" So he gets in the machine, and then we get a description. These are really good stories, really good art. And it describes the process by which he goes back in time. So he has traveled through time. Just woods, not a sign of Dr. Heibolt's laboratory. This is the site as it was 25 years ago. So he went through time, not through space, and is at the exact location where the time machine was just 25 years prior. And he comes across this picnic. A whole bunch of people are having fun. And he spots one woman who is alone. Everyone seems to be paired up except this one woman. Now he's expecting to get pulled back, but the time runs out and he has not gone back. So he says, "Nothing's happening. Something must be wrong. Dr. Heibolt, I don't know why he's screaming out. But the woman comes up to him and asks him if everything's okay, and he finds her very beautiful. She introduces herself as Martha Anders. "I'm Raymond Williams. I hope you don't mind." So they hit it off immediately. I'm sorry, I put these things in here, those just to mark what text I want to read. So they actually fall in love because he is not going back through time. And he meets the parents. They get married. They have a baby. Let's see. "Martha and I were married soon after. It wasn't very difficult for me to find work since I had as yet undiscovered scientific knowledge." So he's, you would think that he's changing the future because he's using scientific knowledge that would be discovered over the course of the next 25 years, but that really doesn't play out in the story at all. I'm not even sure why it was included. So there's the young baby, and suddenly, one night it happened. I was lying in my bed counting my lucky stars that I'd been trapped in time by that strange trick of fate when, good Lord, and so he gets pulled forward in time. And apparently 2 years have gone past, And 2 years have gone past also in the present time. And so Dr. Heibold is not only dead, but now skeletal. And apparently he must have had a heart attack when the time machine was activated, and hit the duration of stay lever ahead. So it was 2 years. Suddenly I thought of Martha. What would she think? She'd wake up and find me gone. She'd think I left her, just like, oh my God, Martha. So he goes back home to his mother. Mother, Raymond, you've come back. And suddenly he figures it out. Mother, I was your maiden name Anders? Why, yes, but you've been gone 2 years. Where? And you met father on a picnic? Yes, and you're going to be just like him, going to leave me, sob, sob. And I left mother crying, and I went out. I knew now why father deserted her and never came back. I couldn't go back. The girl I'd married while I was trapped in time was my mother when she was young, and I am my own father. Would you go back? Okay, so let me do an analysis of this story. I'm not going to get into every detail, but the question is, could it work? Does the plot make sense? Now, we're going to accept, for one thing, I'm going to accept that the time machine works. Also, I think we kind of have to accept that he's traveling back into his own. He's not going into a parallel timeline. He's going into his own past. So probably the least of the concerns would be, did Raymond never know his mother's maiden name? Had he never seen what she looked like 25 years ago? It seems unlikely that he wouldn't figure it out, particularly since he knew that he was still in his hometown, and presumably his mother would be about. So that seems unlikely. But then we get into much bigger problems, which is where the cause and effect here, it doesn't work. He had to go back in time in order to meet Martha and have a child. All right. Now, in order for him to go back in time, he would have had to have been born. So how could he be born? That it doesn't work. There's a circular problem here, a closed loop that doesn't work. And so, to put it another way, the question would be, where did his genetic configuration come from? Because he was born of himself. So how could his unique configuration of genetics even exist? And that leads into the other problem, which is, how could Raymond and Martha have a child whose his entire DNA structure is that of the father and not at all of the mother? Because he's a duplicate of himself. So that wouldn't work. I'm not a geneticist at all, but the question is it even possible? And if it is possible, the odds against it, I would say, are so astronomical that it could not possibly happen in the history of the universe because of the innumerable configuration of genetics. So I'm curious as to whether other people see other issues here. Now, as to the ethics of it, because my guess is that probably William Gaines and Al Feldstein, they had this idea of, could you be the father of yourself? And then they constructed this story to make it happen. And they had their endpoint, and they were simply trying to make that happen. But it just doesn't work. And then when we have the ethics of him, did he procreate or bear a child with his own mother? Well, no, because when he was with Martha, she was not a mother yet. So she was not his mother because she was not a mother. And then things get a little creepy, a little uncomfortable with the whole idea of it. And at the end, he decides, I can't ever see her again, which um, I guess is just his uncomfortability at the fact that he bore a child with his own mother. But the fact of the matter is, neither one of them knew. They couldn't possibly have known, particularly Martha. Raymond, maybe some of it goes on Raymond, given the fact that he really should have figured it out that that was his mother. But we'll accept that he didn't. Nobody was to blame. Sure as heck, the mother wasn't to blame. She was the victim of just a victim of circumstances in that Raymond disappeared with no knowledge. And so it left her emotionally scarred. And then for him at the end to pile on by simply leaving her would surely have left her absolutely devastated for the rest of her life. And through no fault of her own. Yet maybe she overreacted. Maybe she carried this burden a little too far with Raymond, but it was absolutely cruel of him to leave her in the way that he did. So I found this story really interesting, and I put a lot of thought into it in the various plot holes. But plot holes and time travel stories just go hand in hand. But I'm curious to see if other folks find other issues in this story, other than maybe the ethical issues of it, or your thoughts on just the ethics of it. So that was Why Papa Left Home from EC Comics by William Gaines, Al Feldstein, and Joe Orlando.